my father had a sailing boat, and sailing. You're right, Ajay. So when my mother was pregnant with me, she was a lot heavier than she used to be. So my father used to take her out racing, our dinghy racing at the local club, and he always used to win when my mother was pregnant. With me. But actually, my whole life has been revolving around the ocean. So, okay, we've already seen this. Okay, so I was born in Africa, and so most of my experiences were growing up were in Africa, up until I was 18. So these are some really cringing photos. So this is me on the right there when I was, I don't know, that's when I was about 10, that's when I was about 13, and that was when I was 18, something like that. And actually, my dream was to, okay, we're not going to leave that for very long. My dream was to sail around the world. That was my dream. And I read all sorts of books about the ocean, about sailing and the adventurers and so on. And, but I was living in Africa. So although we would visit the coast of Mozambique and South Africa, and I was actually born in Kenya, so very beautiful places, but I wouldn't say they represented what the rest of the world's oceans looked like. So when we came to England in 1978, yeah, I was 18 years old. I was very keen to go sailing here. And then I discovered, actually, around Britain, the water is really cold. And it rains a lot, and it is really windy, and it is really, really rough. And actually, it wasn't anything like I was used to. So I kind of turned my back on it. I thought, okay, maybe I'll look for something else. This is just too cold. It's just too miserable. And there's a winter. Can you believe it? 6 months of the year, you can't go outdoors. I mean, how bad is that? Hey, who would live there? Anyway, so that was it. No more boats, no more water. No, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to do flying instead. I've got a hang glider and a sports car and all sorts of other things, but not the sea. Anyway, I met the church, and when you meet the church, your views get somewhat challenged. And I went to America eventually, and I was asked to join Ocean Church in 1986. And actually, it was kind of like a rebirth for me in many ways, because my passion had been the ocean, being on the ocean, but it was very much as a sport or a way I could connect with other people and be fit and so on. But I was asked to go on Ocean Church 1986. And this was just at the time after Father was in prison, and I just finished Causa as a conference coordinator. Anyway, because I'd had a lot of experience on the water, I was very quickly made a captain, and even worse, I was a mechanic, or an amateur mechanic, so that was it. You were given the worst boat, and and you were a captain. And so very quickly developed a whole new relationship with the ocean. So I went tuna fishing. Anybody else been tuna fishing? Nigel? Really? Wow. Anyone else? Two? Franklin and Nigel. Did tuna? No tuna. Oh, you went king salmon fishing. So, did you catch a fish? Two. How big? Okay. Well, there you have it. That's the size of tuna fish. They're 800 pounds. That's what, 500 kilos? Took an hour and a half. So, Father introduced us to fishing, and like everything Father does, it's in at the deep end. And this was definitely the deep end. And so I was made a captain, and actually that year, 1986, the tuna fish did not come to Gloucester. Nobody caught any tuna. So they created a pioneer team. So that was captains who were confident to use their boats a long way from home to go out on the ocean. And I was one of those captains. And usually you have 4, 5, 6 people on a boat. Do you remember how many were on your boat? Just 2. Oh, you're lucky. Anyway, I was just me and one other brother. Actually, this other brother's an English brother, and you may be hearing from him next week here. But anyway. So we went, and we went a couple of days along the coast, sail along the coast to an area where there were tuna fish. And we lived actually in the boat, on the water, all the time. So it was definitely a very extreme experience. And anyway, like all fishermen, I could go on to a long story. But anyway, I had very profound and deep experiences, and we did catch fish. We caught 13, actually, but they weren't 800 pounds. They were more 500. So anyway, I came back to Britain in 89, and 89. Oops. Oh, I missed a bit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 87. So 86, I was in Gloucester. 1987, I went to Alaska. This was before Ocean Challenge was in Alaska. So it was just commercial fishing boats, and Father went there. So Father wanted to introduce the sort of Ocean Challenge workshop type experience. So that year, he asked it was about 10 of us, to actually take the Good Go boats to Alaska. Of course, we didn't drive them. They went by ship, by road. And then we actually set the boats up and started fishing and so on. And our first workshop was, Father had invited the Korean professors, Korean PWPA professors, to come big game fishing in Alaska. So our first people, we got, I don't know, it must have been 100 professors came. And so on my boat, we had a good 8 of them. And a picture on the right, there is a halibut. It's a 200-pound halibut. And actually, when we went out fishing, it was a fishing competition. So Father was out fishing, and then all these other boats full of PWPA professors were out, and I was running one of those boats. And we actually managed to catch one of these 200-pounders. And believe me, these are really big. And, 200 pounds, that's over 100 kilos. And so I got an experience where we caught this big fish, and we had to show it to True Father. And of course, if you catch a big fish, you're very proud, right? You want to show True Father what you've done. And my boat of Korean professors went along Father, and then Father looked at it. And actually, in that moment, I had a very profound experience with True Father. Because, like I said, you would expect me to be a proud son, right? Isn't that what, if you've done something good and you show it to your father, aren't you proud? But actually, I had the opposite experience. I felt the enormity of the responsibility that a Messiah has to cope with. Because he's the Messiah, so he has to be respected. He has to actually be the best. And we just caught this record-breaking halibut, together with all these, PWPA professors. Now, it was on Father. He had to beat that. In order for him to have the dignity and the position, he had to do better than that. So somehow it was shocking to me to feel actually what that really means when you are in that position. So you're all waiting to find out, what did Father catch, right? Actually, he did catch a bigger one. Bigger than this. And not only did he catch it, he asked a nearby, we had a trawler. Many of the professors couldn't go on the small boat, they just got too seasick. So there's a small trawler with us, one of our church trawlers, came by and it's got a huge crane on it. And so when he caught his fish, he put it on the end of this crane and lifted it about, 20 meters into the air so that everybody could see it. So there was absolutely no doubt who caught the biggest fish. And actually, I was so happy. I was so happy that Father caught a bigger fish. Because now he could stand in front of these 100 professors with dignity, with some sort of, and he's the one who invited them fishing, right? So these are the sort of things that you encounter when you're out on the water, especially when you're close to true parents, or when you're doing anything connected with true parents, even true parents' boats. There's some special element there. So, okay. So then we came back to England, and at that time, this was starting family time. So, like everybody else, we had to start looking for jobs. We couldn't be sort of missionaries so easily because we had young children and so on. So I got a job. I was working as a television cameraman. And anyway, in about 1994, it was announced that True Parents were going to send 4 Good Go boats to this country, these ones. And I was super excited because obviously that's where my heart was. That's what I wanted to do. Secretly, I was doing all sorts of things on the ocean, weekends. My family, my children would go camping in the most horrendous conditions with, 1-year-old, 2-year-old, just so we could be near the ocean. Anyway, when we heard we were getting these boats, I got very excited. Oh my God, it's 34 minutes already. Okay, so, I'm an experienced captain. I'm a mechanic. I know all about I know these boats back to front. I know their weakness, their strength, because I'd lived on one of them for 6 months. Well, no, 3 months, out on the ocean. Anyway, what happened was, when these boats came to England, it was considered that the leadership, or I don't know who, considered that I was not worthy. So I was, I'm not involved with the boats. They went somewhere else in this country, and I was not allowed to be involved with them. So of course, for me, that was crushing. It was somehow, a big challenge for me. But actually, this is how God works. It's so mysterious, really. Anyway, out of that came something else. That it was really a test for me. How much do you really want to do this mission? How much? You're happy to do it if someone gives you a boat and gives you this and gives you lots of support and this, that, and the other. You know, you know, what happens if you've got nothing? What happens if you have got absolutely nothing? Will you still do that mission? So that was the question I had to ask myself. I said, yeah, I do want to do this mission. I do, even if I don't have boats. So actually what happened then is I started a mission together with my family. It was no longer just me. If I was going to get involved with doing anything on the ocean, I would need the help and support and involvement of my own family. So a new era began for me. So I had a family mission. My family didn't even know, actually. They just sort of were dragged along. And that picture on the left, is it on your left? Yes, on the left there, little white boat, is my first boat. I built it in our back garden, cost me 50 quid. And that was built, I built that one when my daughter was 2. That's a picture of my daughter when she's, Maria, 16? Anyway, it's more than 10 years later. I didn't have a camera at that time when I built it. I couldn't afford a camera. I built a little boat. And so, you know, more than 10 years later, that boat was still going strong. But very soon after that, we got another one, which is the one on your right. Again, I didn't have a camera. This is somebody else's photo, my dad's photo of us all in it. So there are my children, my daughter on the left, my 2 sons. I see my son Daniel's not here, but that's him just in front of me at the back. So we started out with that. And then some years later, we managed to get something a bit more substantial. So this is our sailing. It's called a trimaran. It's got 3 hulls. Has enough room to sleep 6 people. So you can actually, I was now at the point where I could actually do something relatively substantial. And when I bought it, it was in a terrible mess, and I had to basically rebuild it. And actually, I still have that boat today. And so our family went through this kind of course of learning how to connect with the ocean. And then, you know, I needed to provide some money, you know, I had to survive. So I actually started a business. We decided to move to Cornwall, and Maria and I started a boat maintenance business. That's it there, a little white van, and those are the kind of boats we worked on. The deepest, darkest Cornwall, where all the rich people go with their boats. So, you know, we did a boat maintenance company, which is basically cleaning, polishing, repairing the hulls. And so through that, I could get really into the sort of meat of the boat industry, the ocean industry. And then we could start some activities. So we did start then sailing groups, sailing workshops. We bought lots of little boats, which I could get almost free because I was in the industry. And this is I was in the West Country region, so we used to have small sailing workshops at a lake near Cleve House. Of course, Carlo was very excited about that. I don't know if you know, Carlo is very keen on the ocean. So, so then, this was about 2005 or 2006. I got a call from the then national leader, who's in this room, saying, you know, True Father's allowed to come to this country, and it's quite possible he's going to come here. Where are the boats? So I had to go to Scotland, and we had to revive our boats, which were not in good shape, I have to say. But together with the Scottish community, we got one together. And even though True Father didn't come and he didn't go fishing with us, which would have been, you know, stuff of nightmares, actually, from my point of view, but we could take people out fishing. So here are some shots of a team, an STF team. So we had one. You know, I said it was a family mission. So the bottom right there is the STF, and the middle one is actually my son, Daniel. He was on STF, and he brought his team to Cornwall, and we did an ocean workshop. So here you can see it was not just me doing my own thing, but actually our whole family was involved. And so 2008 came, and there was a financial crash, as you're all aware, and all the boat industry collapsed, including, we were actually okay. In fact, we were anticipating it, so we were quite lucky. But then I had to reflect, what am I actually doing? What kind of success am I having? Is this really what Father wanted, just to take people out in the odd here and there? You know, are we really doing what Father wanted? And you know the story where the farmer who's about to, on his deathbed, he's worried about his lazy sons and says, you know, I buried some treasure in a field. You know the story? And then he passes away. Of course, what do the lazy boys do? I mean, they dig like mad, the whole farm. And of course, the crops started growing and they became quite wealthy, but they didn't find any treasure because it was in the process of digging. Everyone heard that story? Anyway, I felt a bit like that, actually. The Father never really told us what we should do. And that was so frustrating. Why did Father spend so much time on the ocean? What were we supposed to, okay, he said get involved with the ocean. Why? And he also used to say, you know, the ocean is the place of the future, and it's where there is treasure. He used these very words. This is where the treasure lies for the future. So I thought, you know, I need to go a bit further than just taking people out fishing on fishing boats, you know. So I then went and enrolled in a university it's Plymouth University in Cornwall, and took a degree in marine science, which is 80% marine biology. Anybody studied biology? Only one or two. This is the quickest way to know God. Study biology. Really? You'll be amazed. Biologists understand God exists because it's just too perfect. Anyway, what do biologists do? They dissect things, don't they? A little bit, yeah. Well, there's me dissecting a 60-foot fin whale. See there? So our job was to find out why this fin whale, which had washed up on the beach in Cornwall, had died. So we had to go and dissect a 60-foot fin whale. So that's a machete scalpel that I'm holding. And anyway, another story. Why did it die? Actually, by the time we'd managed to reach the internal organs, there was too much decay, so we couldn't say for sure, unfortunately. But we put forward lots of explanations, and we do suspect it was pollution, because there's a lot of nets, and they ingest them, and then, you know, ghost nets, called nets fishermen have forgotten about, and they just float around and they decay, and then they get absorbed by the big creatures in the ocean, and then it kills them. So, and then, you know, I completed my degree, and then I was asked to stay on at the course to become a lecturer. And so I then was offered the opportunity to do my PhD. Oh my goodness, time. Right, so then, instead of doing my PhD, I decided to come to Livingston House to clean toilets. I mean, essentially, that's what it is, right? Manager, Livingston, isn't it? Isn't it, Tim? Yeah, manager, Livingston House manager, toilet cleaner. Yeah. So kind of, I thought that was the end of it. And the reason I came was because we realized that my family, my children, had moved away to university, and we were never going to see them again. Cornwall might as well be on Mars. It's so far away. You're just never going to see them again. And, you know, we'd been very tight as a family, and in a sense, it was our mission to work together on these things. And so you know, and the other reason is I missed you. You know, we were on our own in Cornwall, 4 hours from the nearest members, you know, and so we just missed the community, we missed you. So anyway, we managed eventually to do a workshop in Livingston House with my daughter's STF team. And there is one of our community, former national leader, Matthew, in the middle there, catching a fish. He joined us on the fishing trip. So I'm not going to spoil his story. Every fisherman's got a story, or stories. But and I did have a video of that, which I'm not going to show because we've already run out of time. I can see our internet. So in 2022, Dr. Balcom encouraged us to try out again the Good Go fishing boat, and with the help from many in this community, particularly Cecilia, we managed to get on the water, and we went out, and we spent, I think we did, I think it was 21 trips altogether. I'm beginning to lose count now, but we did go out quite regularly, and it was more of a trial to see if there was enough interest and what was involved, and so at the moment, we're actually in the same situation, also under Dr. Balcom, and also with Ajah, Reverend Ajah. We're going to try an upscale, move up to a bigger situation where we're working on the boat, trying to get on the water, so people can at least go and experience something on the ocean. So now for the real reason I'm here, is why do you go on the ocean? Why? What are the things that I've observed? In all these years, what have I observed? And what I've observed is that people change. We're all used to sitting, standing, walking on the floor that doesn't move, right? So when you're on a boat, it's never still. It's always moving. So, you know, you sway a lot, your balance is challenged. You're always moving. And when you look around at this, you can't just get off, right? Oh, I don't like that guy. I'm going to get off. Sorry, you're stuck. And the whole thickness of a boat is probably between 5 and 10 millimeters, right? So between you and swimming, it's 10 millimeters of fiberglass. Anyone know 10 millimeters? It's not much. If you hit a rock, or if there's for any reason that 10 millimeters gets breached, your life is at risk, right? So it is dangerous. When Father has workshops for, you know, when he spoke to us in America, he always, not always, but very often he would make us repeat after him several times. The ocean is dangerous. The ocean is dangerous. He would say that. Repeat after me. The ocean is dangerous. The ocean is dangerous. Right? Kind of not what you'd expect Father to say, right? But he said, that's the important thing to know, that it is dangerous and you must respect it. But you must have dominion over it. So what I've also noticed is that the relationships between people on a boat also change. You can, you know, you're in the same boat, and, you know, it's the great leveler. Anybody been seasick? Ooh, oh, we're going to have a challenge, aren't we? Okay. How dignified do you feel hanging over the side of the boat going, ah? No? You... Right. Okay. Yeah. But if you've actually been seasick, you will realize that, you know, it's awful. And it's very difficult to keep your dignity, save face when you're throwing up your breakfast. Even when you stop throwing up, you're still trying to throw up. And you think you're going to die. You really do. You think you're going to die. Eventually, you really think you're going to die. But guess what? You don't. And then you know what happens? You think you're not going to die. That's worse. Right? But the moment you step on land, it's gone. The moment you step, it's gone. And you do overcome it. So Adrian very kindly said that I'm one of those people that doesn't get seasick. Not true. Actually, everybody gets seasick. Even Cecilia, even though, everybody gets seasick, it's the point at which you get seasick. So when you start out, a little bit rough, you get seasick. And more experienced people, you only get seasick when it gets really rough, So if someone says to you, I don't get seasick, A, they're lying, B, they haven't been out in very rough weather, or when it was rough, they were highly sedated with seasickness pills. So you can do that. There's no shame in taking seasick pills. So bear that in mind. Even the toughest captains take seasick pills when nobody's looking. Right? So anyway, the point is, it's a great leveler. And True Father used to take out the leaders on the New Hope, and they would tremble. They would absolutely tremble in fear. Because there they were, meeting Father, out on the ocean, throwing up. There was one leader who used to meet regularly with Father, who used to carry a bucket with him. Now, usually a very dignified leader, and he'd turn up to the Ocean Church Center with his little bucket. And had to, walk past all the members with his little bucket. This is for him to throw up into, so he didn't throw up all over Father or all over the floor. So you can see that in some sense, it's a real leveler. Okay, this isn't the only thing that makes it a leveler. People have to overcome fear. The ocean is a scary place. Even I, after all these years, when I go out on the ocean, every time I feel it. It doesn't overwhelm me, but I can feel it in the background. This little kind of butterflies, little fear, because you know what can happen, and you can... it's there. It's waiting for you. So, okay. When you're out on the water or going out, it's adventurous. People who go fishing or out in the water have got so many stories. Fishermen can talk all a day. People who go out are full of stories. Why? It's adventurous. It's exciting. It's different. It's real. So if you want a real life, get out. Okay, it might not necessarily be on a fishing boat, but get out. That's where you will experience things that you'll talk about, you'll have fun with, and you'll do it with the people that you are close to if you do it together. The other one overcomes depression. Seasickness, or going out in a boat, was a traditional remedy for depression. If you're feeling depressed, go out on a boat. It really works. Well, it puts everything into perspective. That's what it does. And the other reason is, it actually is a place of spiritual cleansing. The fall took place on the land, right? You didn't hear about a snake swimming out to meet Eve, right? It took place on the land. So, actually, God can claim the ocean. So when Father says, when he's often asked, why do you go out in the ocean when it's rough and terrible and dangerous and so on? What does Father say? I have an appointment with God. I cannot not go because that's where I meet God. So If you are having difficulty, you know, the ocean is a really, really good place. And this is actually being recognized clinically. Even just seeing a picture of the ocean can affect people, believe it or not. Of course, on a very subtle level, but okay. Practical skills, risk management. Okay, I use the word specifically, risk management. We're living in a time where everything is risk averse, right? You know, if you go out and there's a danger of falling over, you have to wear a helmet. You can't climb trees. You can't do this. You can't do that. Why? It's dangerous. Oh, you can't do this. It's dangerous. Actually, avoiding risk, avoiding danger is not the answer. Managing risk is the answer. And that's what we all have to learn, especially young people, how to recognize and manage risk. So, okay, I already mentioned enhanced your spirituality. Okay, and then finally, you'll be happy to know, as I'm way over time, appreciation of life. So hang in there, one point. When you're fishing and you catch a fish, you're very excited, aren't you, Arian? Right? So you bring in the fish and you're all very excited and you're looking at your fish. Do you know what you have to do next? You have to kill it. You are taking a life. So when it's a little fish, it's not such a big problem. But as the fish gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it gets more and more and more difficult. If you have to take the life of a tuna fish, which is bigger than you, can you do it? Can you do it? And then comes the question, why are you doing it? Just for fun? This creature that's been swimming the oceans for 40 years sometimes can do 120 miles an hour escape velocity. You're going to kill it? Why? So it brings into really sharp focus where we stand in the creation. Who are we? What rights do we have? And then you can understand, actually, you give dignity to nature by treating it with respect, and that nature is giving to us to sustain us. Why? Because we are the children of God. Because we are the closest thing to God that nature can connect with. And I know it sounds very theoretical, but actually you get to experience it. You actually get to experience it. You actually get to feel that a fish or something is grateful that you're taking its life and not some machine that's going to chuck it into a basket and mince it all up and put it out as fish fingers. You know? That you're giving this dignity. And then you come to understand, actually, are we like that to God? Do we sacrifice ourselves for God? Do we make ourselves object to God, that we're grateful to serve God with our lives? These are very, very profound experiences that you actually have. They're not just things you hear, like you're hearing from me, but you will actually experience them if your heart is in the right place. So these are a few points, and unfortunately I can't do any more, but these are the important points that I've experienced. So, what now? What's the future of Ocean Church? And what can we do to be part of it? And what we can get from it? And what can Heavenly Parent get from it? Well, I could go on a long time on all the plans and possibilities, but I think as an organization, I don't know. But I know, as I've said earlier, that if you really want to experience the depths of God's heart, this is where you start, with nature, and the ocean is the way Father encouraged us. So please think seriously how you can do that. It doesn't need to be fishing. It can be surfing. I know people who experience God because they go surfing, kayaking, and the people who go diving, underwater scuba diving, they see a world that you just cannot imagine. Okay, you see it on TV, but once you're amidst it, under the water, seeing, it's a whole different world that God created for us. So the possibilities are endless, quite honestly. And also, I think there's a new dimension to witnessing, because those who are close to nature are close to God. When I was a lecturer in university, most of my students loved the ocean more than I did. And actually, I don't know how, but they somehow had a sense of God's existence. And I wish that I'd been ready for that. I wish that I'd known how to introduce God to these people, because they are the ones that somehow know that God exists, but they haven't got the understanding to put it into a usable format. So those who have that ability, these are really good people to think about. Okay, so finally, where are we going? Anyone want to join me on our next workshop? I think that's what Father is expecting of us, actually. Honestly, at least this. I think that's where we should be holding our Sunday services. We should be doing our witnessing. What can't we do? Research, entertainment, go the world. Next blessing. Anyone possibly going to the next blessing? Young people? Should we go on that? Imagine arriving in Korea. You think it might be noticed? We can witness all the way there. Anyway, that's my hope for the future. So I've well and truly exceeded my time limit. Thank you for listening. And please. I thought to myself, if I finish early, I can open up to questions, but sorry. Okay, I'd like to finish with a prayer. Our dearest Heavenly Parent, thank you so much that you have given us our lives, and you have given us this beautiful world, and that you have given us brothers and sisters, family members that can work together with us, that we can really be that heavenly family that you so desperately wanted. And we pray that through us, you can truly reach out to the world, to all those who want to know you, feel you, and understand you. And so I offer this short talk, and I pray that you can inspire, protect, and guide everybody here, and all of those who are watching online. And so I offer you this prayer, in the names of all of those present, and in my name, Clive Pollitt, and Blessed Central Family, Arju.
Right, thank you. Oh, amazing sermon. Should we show our appreciation? Thank you, thank you. Let's invite our band up for our offering song. Please rise.
I'm sorry, Clive, to hear that you didn't have a musical accompaniment of Brother, Son, Sister Moon. But the next song is even coincidentally written by True Father. And this world is the Garden of Eden. And God's will is that we realize this and live that way. So hopefully this will be fine.
Thank pray. Good afternoon, Heavenly Parent. Thank you so much for this opportunity we had to come here. Please accept our offerings, our time to come here, our financial offerings now and through the month, and all the things we do to serve your providence and your will. I want to offer this now in the name of Timothy Reed, Central Blessed Family, Arju.
Thank you. Please be seated. At this point in our service, we would like to say, nice to meet you. And so, if there's anyone who's here for the first time or returning after a while, if you would like to, you can stand up, say your name, where you're from, and we can give you a big warm welcome. Does anyone would like to be welcomed? Not to the... Do you know?
Just say who you are.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Eunyoung Hwang. I'm just here visiting for a little bit from America, from Utah.
Utah.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is that everybody? Good. So, I'd like to invite our pastor up to give the benediction.
Pastor is doing too much. Benediction. So we have a new benediction, but before I do that, I have a couple of announcements. Sorry, most of our tech team is away on workshop, so it was hectic at the back. But thank you very much for all the setup team, hospitality team, that set up this room yesterday, and for the tech team that helped to, at least put something online, and we will fix it and put a new live feed, new feed out there, video feed of what the sermon was today. Thank you very much, Clive, for that. And I know it could have been much longer. There's a lot more to say. If you see Nelson Mandela's statue at Parliament Square, he's doing this. You should have seen the one that got away, right? Yeah, fishermen have tall tales. So, also, we're all getting ready for the holidays. I'm sure many of you are going away. Many of us are going away. We have one family in Maidstone that is going away on holiday, but they're looking for help, somebody to help look after their small zoo. So yeah, you can't take your zoo with you on holiday, can you? So they've got a bearded dragon lizard, a corn snake, and a tortoise that are like minding. If you're available, 19th to the 30th of August or the 31st, negotiable, then please let me know and I'll put you in touch with them. Nice countryside around Maidstone, and you have a free Wi-Fi, and nice walks in the area. So let me know. Also, please prepare for the 7-day spirituality workshop, which is from the 5th to the 11th of October at Livingston House. And So, and thank you once more, Clive, for Father Earth, Mother Ocean. Something to think about. And we're looking forward to the boat being back on the water so we can go out again. Arju, we'll do whatever it takes to get back. So please rise and I'll say the benediction. So this is from True Mother's speech on the 7th of March, which she gave to the Heavenly Top Gun, and I also give to you. Heavenly Parent is alive. Arju? Yeah. God is working with the first only begotten daughter. Around the world, we face many difficult problems, and the only way to solve them is to unite with the true mother, Aju. I bless you to become the chosen people who attend Heavenly Parent with joy and become the flagship nation of Chonilguk, Aju. Have a great week and see you next week at the memorial service at Stanton Fitzwarren. If you're not able to make it, we will be at Livingston House. We'll have a service at Livingston House as well. Okay, thank you very much and have a great week. Unfortunately, I have to rush you all out of here, but it was great seeing you. We have to take everything down, and I don't know why the UK football has come on my thing. Are you winning every week? It's like, yeah. So have a great week and see you next week. God bless. Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, we have to move out quickly before 2:30. So if we are out by 2, no, so please have. I'm not rushing you out. Please have a fellowship, some teas and coffees. People have been prepared. But 2 o'clock, we'd like to leave the building so the next group can come in. Thank you. Yeah, also, I'd like to apologize for the pro presenter kept showing up, the trademark pro presenter. We have paid the license, so it should not be appearing there. So we will sort that out for next week. Okay, thank you.
I don't know why, but I suddenly felt I have to go and
We have to equalize this thing.